Three, two, one. Right, so hey everyone, this is NJ, the host of the NJ podcast, and welcome to a segment of the show where we have conversations with interesting people, successful people, well-connected people, politically correct, not correct, politically connected people. So if you want a tender, you must reach out to me. And I'll plug you in. And remember, the theme of the show is that success is the progressive realization of a way ideal. That means you're going after what you've always wanted to go after because it's aligned with your highest values, and that's the only way that you can live a truly fulfilled and successful life. And on the show today, I have a friend, someone we went to Rhodes with back in the day, Rhodes University. Yes, it was like a decade ago.
Jeez, you make us sound so old.
We are. Once you're over 29, I consider you at age for retirement. And
Government says 35, please.
The government says a lot of things I don't agree with. So her name is Lethabo Sekele, and back then we didn't spend a lot of time around her, but I watched her from a distance. You know, she was getting scholarships and leadership.
Oh wow! You had college house? Where were you?
I was at Waterhouse. I was at Waterhouse. Yes.
But you were like, what's that hall again?
Yeah, Founders. Yeah, Founders Hall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your brother hall.
Yeah, what?
Our brother, what do we call it? Brother halls?
Which resume?
St. Mary's.
You were St. Mary's? Oh, yeah, St. Mary's.
Yes.
Which
house?
Together. Which house?
Olive Shrine.
You Olive Shrine. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Olive Shrine. Yeah. Right, cool. So, and then she's gone on to do quite a bit of work. And weren't you in Mail and Guardian's top 200?
Yeah.
You
know, Dr. Magudumana, she was... sorry to take it there.
Yeah.
But when I realized she was... one of the top 200 South Africans, young South Africans, and I'm like, oh shikes.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Do I really even want to be associated? I know that's another conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, about the top 10. Oh, is that the best of thing?
The best of thing.
Yeah, that was a crazy. So let's park that.
Let's park it. But every time someone mentions a Mail and Guardian top 200,
has it not been tainted? Has it not been tainted?
I think so.
Why?
I think so. I've just been asking myself a lot of questions. Obviously, she is deserving of it. She's done a lot. I mean, apart from what's happening right now, I think she's pretty accomplished and deserving of it. But just that association, it's just, you know.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of like the Forbes 30 under 30. I don't know if you saw that with who's Elizabeth Holmes.
Yes.
And Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yes.
These guys have been responsible for what 30 billion in fraud. And,
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, same thing, exactly what you're saying with the Forbes 30 under 30 with the what's the company's name? Theranos. Yeah. And I'm just like, it just brings into question all these lists of and accolades, and you know, how deep do people actually? Do these compilers of these lists actually go into verifying and doing their due diligence on these individuals, you know? So it's quite disheartening. I think the lists themselves are...
do they count for anything?
You see, I think they do. They give you that recognition, right? It's like, I don't want to say stamp of approval, but it actually... I think it does a lot in terms of inspiring young people and making you realize what you can achieve.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just feel like, I don't know. I'm quite indifferent. I'm increasingly becoming quite indifferent.
Increasingly becoming indifferent.
Yeah.
What? Like, okay, no, I get what you're saying, because a lot of people are saying it's just good for branding and PR and all these things. Like from an author's perspective, one of my coaches, when he was helping me to write the book, Inspired Success, I was like, I want to be on New York Times bestseller, Wall Street Journal bestseller, Amazon bestseller. I just want bestseller. And you know what he said? He said, that's good for your ego.
Absolutely.
Very good for your ego.
Yeah.
But a lot of people buy their way into these lists. So is it really as credible as you may think it is?
Absolutely.
There are a lot of books and authors who are without question, worthy of being on a bestsellers list. Like for me, Stephen A. Smith, Michelle Obama, Viola Davis, all these people on the New York Times bestsellers list. However, there are some who you can question. I mean, there was one guy who went and strategically bought books at different locations so that met the criteria. And I was like,
you see.
You see. But you were on the list. I
was on the list.
Yeah.
And also, I'm very wary of chasing those kinds of accolades, if you want to call them that.
Yeah.
You can get very caught up in chasing that and that recognition and that external validation.
Sure.
I find that there's power in just moving silently, as people call it, moving silently or whatever it is, because it can be very addictive. As you mentioned in varsity rather, I did quite a lot of things, and there was a point where I was like, okay, who am I doing this for? Because I was addicted to that external validation. I want to be on the what is that? Investec Rhodes
Rhodes 100. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I still have it.
Yes. My grandmother actually kept a copy of that.
Is it?
Yeah. I think I took a picture and I tagged you on it.
Yeah, you did. I was on. I was like, yo, I look so young.
You look young though.
Yeah. But on the day I was like, this guy doesn't know that what's coming. Taxes are coming for you. They're coming for you.
I think as I get older, I've become quite wary of chasing those things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Why have you become wary of chasing those things?
Because I realize it's more about being true to yourself is about being honest with why now you're doing certain things. Because when you chase that, it starts becoming about other people and congratulations, oh my God, you're doing so great, and everybody's commenting and but you lose the true essence of why you're doing the things that you're doing.
So my question to you is, when you were let's use this word chasing the accolades, right? When you were chasing the accolades, outside of chasing the accolades, now that you've taken time to reflect on what you were doing, what was it that was actually driving you outside of the external validation?
Achievements, and I think a lot of my sense of self and self-worth is attached to achievements. I've never been an athlete or artistic, or do you know what I mean? I've always been a thinker. So just the sense of accomplishment and feeling like I'm doing something that fulfills me. I guess that's what drove me. And then, but it becomes a little bit dangerous when it becomes about the external validation. But initially it would be about, I like feeling that sense of achieving and getting things done. That makes me smile.
That makes you smile. Okay, so a question that I have is, because I wrote the first book, Inspired Success, because I wanted to understand what success really is. When I finished varsity, because I did a whole lot of those things like Investec Rhodes 100, Dean of Student Leadership, Toastmasters, President, all that stuff. And then I asked myself, what actually is going to fulfill me and give me the best quality of life possible? So I went and I interviewed CEOs, CIOs, single mothers, people I thought were successful, people who were not successful. I went to Las Vegas so I could meet guys like Tony Robbins, Robin Sharma, because I wanted to.
Robin Sharma?
Yeah, Robin Sharma.
Are you for real?
Brilliant.
Oh, can I high five you for that?
Brilliant guy. I remember he was speaking on stage. Actually, Robin Sharma was here at this Joe Stanton Center in 2014. I said to him, Robin. I said, hey.
First names even.
I was like, hey. I didn't want to say Prarob because I was like, Robin, I'm going to change the world. And he looked at me and said, I'm sure you will. I'm like, and then I was like, yeah, I'm about to get him, Lloyd. So then in Vegas, I met a guy who was in the media industry, making $10 million a year, and he shared that he was suicidal, ready to commit suicide. And I said, leave me your money, please. and so he had reached the highest levels of quote-unquote success, money and accolades, but he was still not fulfilled. I'm like, I don't know, I guess we're in trouble. So I said, success is a progressive realization of where the ideal. That means that you're doing what you want to do because it's aligned with your values, not because your mom, your dad brother, society, your pastor, your wife, or whatever is telling you that you must do this thing. And many people at Rhodes were studying degrees because their parents. Some people were at university. Some people have no business being in university. I believe that because they're gifted, they can just go straight into the world of work and then just go and crush it. And some people should be in university because they are built to be professors and they can change the world of academia. So that's when I realized that this success thing has got nothing to do with money, with leadership accolades and all that.
And the education.
The education, those things are good. Those things are nice, but you can have all those things and still quote unquote be a failure. So for you, what are the things that you do that you'll say that, okay, I'm successful?
Shucks. I must say that I agree with you in that success is not necessarily, I don't measure it by what I've accumulated materially, money, material possessions or whatever it is. And I think society subscribes to that idea of success. And for me, it's really about doing what I love. And any space I occupy, any career position that I pursue has to be in line with who I am and what I believe and my values. I always say that I don't like to give myself a title or anything like that. People, and I think society always wants you to identify as are you an accountant or are you a lawyer? Like I must box myself, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just an activist for social justice. That's what I am.
An activist for social justice.
Yes. I'm a social justice activist.
You're a social justice warrior.
Yes, like that's just me. You know.
You know, there's a negative connotation to social justice warriors, right?
You need to fill me in on that. Actually,
I'll fill you in. I'm writing about them being father of my Nina.
But any space I occupy, I always make sure that I use it to pursue the good. And the just, you know? So whether I'm on a board, whether I'm in formal employment, whatever it is, I always think about, and it's not even intentional, I just find myself doing it. It just comes so naturally to fight for what's right. Fight sounds so aggressive. But
in the world we live in, you need to fight.
You need to fight. You know? Look, put me anyway. Trust me to be the person to find the anomalies in the system and the inconsistencies. I will identify them. Yes, and I don't know why. I'm just always, it irritates some people. But for me...
I think by virtue of your position and you're fighting for what's right, you would be unemployed and you had no place in the world if this world was better. Why I'm saying that is, if there was no need for people to do the right thing, if people were inherently doing the right thing, what are you fighting?
Absolutely.
So a lot of people are doing the wrong things, and that is why you're fighting the wrong things, and then now people are going to fight you because you are attacking the identity which is rooted in doing the wrong things.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as I'm saying, it irritates quite a few people because when you get into organization, you're expected to like sort of assimilate in their way of doing things. I hate like exploitation of workers. Like I would sit on a board and and I'm just like, what the heck?
Workers get exploited.
Workers get exploited.
Can we have our money, please?
Workers get exploited.
Can you give a general story, because I don't want you to be fetched.
Specific,
yeah. Don't be specific. I mean, just like a general story, because you said you sit on a board. And you find that workers are being exploited. Can you just give us a scenario?
I mean, you'll find that we're deliberating, let's say, salary increases.
Yes.
And then the executive will come to you and say, okay, we're thinking of giving, let's say, a 6% increase.
6%?
Yeah. What? Is that a lot?
That's nothing.
Exactly!
What about 6%?
Exactly! Oh, and then we'll say, no, we'll just give inflation-aligned kind of increases or whatever, right?
I can't buy new party shoes with that.
Do you know what I'm saying? So, And then you're sitting and you're like, the audacity. Is this CEO even serious? Is this HR exec serious? Are you presenting this to us? You know, we know the cost of living is so expensive. That time, let's say your medical aid will increase by like 8%. It's just like the cost of living is so high. And you want to give people mediocre salary increases like that. Oh, and I will fight that head on. You know, I'm that person.
How many of those battles have you won? Specifically around salaries, I mean.
I win all the time.
You win all the time. I want you. You she is the Michael Jordan of social justice. Undefeated in the finals. Undefeated. She's a Floyd Mayweather of this. She's undefeated.
I always win. And by win, it might not necessarily mean that my decision will be the final decision that's eventually taken. But I win in the sense that actually I challenged whatever is going on there. I've started the debate. So next time you know to be prepared when you approach me or when you approach the board. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
You need to know what you're talking about.
You need to know what you're talking about.
Fair and just.
Exactly. So don't stand stuck and say 6%. Okay, based on what, for instance, but also workers are human beings. You know what I mean? They've got kids, they've got bills, they've got life. You as an executive, you're taking home 3 mil per annum. And you think 6% is sufficient. Think about.
I thought executives earn far more than 3. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just.
Oh yeah, general. Yeah.
I can say general.
Yeah, there's a book that I read was written in 2013, so the figures are very much outdated. Yeah. Executives in this country, from MTN to Sanlam. I mean, the one side, like in this book. And I'm not just making this up, it's like executive salary is the name of the book is. Yeah. 190 million rand a year in salary and compensation. 190. 190. What is this guy doing?
Absolutely.
And are those types of salaries, in your view, justified?
No.
No, they're not justified.
They're not justified.
I thought they were.
Okay,
okay, so this is for my.
You're speaking to a socialist.
Yeah. Oh, she got me. That's why I do the final. That's how black people make excuses and when they don't want to talk about No, for me it's the responsibility that they're carrying, the accountability to people like you, the board of directors, and then also they're responsible for other people's performance. So if people under them don't perform, they are judged on that. And working with executives and speaking to executives, I understand the pressures that they are facing. Yeah. So based on that, I don't have all the numerical data to back this up, but just based on my experiences and interactions with them, I would say that is justified. Based on that. Yeah. So now you're saying it's not justified.
I mean, look, ultimately, if you're going to look at it from that point of view, very capitalistic point of view.
Yeah, I'm a capitalist.
Of course. Yeah. So if you're going to look at it from that perspective, the risk, right, that rests on your CEOs and on your top executives of these companies. Yes, granted, you could say it's justified from that point of view. They bear a lot of risk. Yeah, if anything happens, all eyes on them. Yes. But from a socialist point of view, if you look at the gap between the highest earning employees, which were your executives, to your lowest earning employees, the gap is ridiculous. And I don't think we should be living in a society like that. I'm just talking now just from my social justice.
You are such an ideal.
I know, right? So for me, it's like the inequality in income is just it's mind-boggling, And I recently had a huge argument with a colleague of mine. He's white, he's male, he's Afrikaans. And, I'm deliberately mentioning that because his mindset is completely different, and I guess it stems from who he is.
Who he is and his past.
Yes, absolutely. And it was during the shutdown.
The lockdown,
the shutdown, the EFF shutdown.
Oh yeah,
Sure. 21st March, 20th March.
20th March, yeah.
And he had said that he doesn't understand people toying, in his words, and what that's meant to achieve, and people must just work. And anyway, it was a failure, it was an epic fail, this shutdown. And I said, you hate workers. You hate workers. And he's like, what do you mean? Why did you say
something so inflammatory? You want to say I hate workers? To me! How did that go?
And he's like, what do you mean? Anyway, I'm speaking to a unionist and a communist. And I'm like, no, don't do that. You hate workers. And you don't realize that workers, you're a worker yourself. You built this economy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no, unionists and workers, they're lazy. You guys just doing for every little thing. And I'm like, no. It's not doing for every little thing, right? These are people who wake up every morning, who at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
They're at the train stations. They're at the taxi ranks.
Yeah.
They build this economy.
Yeah.
Right? Mine work is very close to my heart. Work in very harsh, difficult conditions, risk their health, risk their safety. And you think there's no space for unions, there's no space for worker rights, there's no space. He's like, no, in this world, you get what you work for.
Yeah.
Your levels of success will be determined by how hard you work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, by that definition, then mine workers should be really rich.
Yes.
Domestic workers should be really rich.
Talk to them.
Everyone should be really rich.
Because these are
because these are people who wake up every day, every morning, early hours of the morning to build this economy.
They break themselves.
They break themselves.
Yeah.
Right? And I was just like, we've got such a long way to go in realizing that workers deserve decent pay to be able to take care of their kids, to be able to live a decent, normal life.
Yeah.
You know? So that's why I'm saying that it's unjustifiable that we have such huge income inequalities and gaps in incomes. I don't know, like I'm getting emotional.
Of course, because you're a social justice warrior.
Yes. So I think I'm going all over the show.
So
like,
here's a question for me. Like, what is the thing about this country? Because people want to leave. People are saying it's a failed state. People say it's a capture state. People say these are just broad terms from what I've heard. These are failed state, captured state, mafia state.
Cheapers.
Yeah.
So people are saying.
And listen. I was at a book fair just before I came here.
Yeah.
And the author of The President's Keeper.
Yes.
I can't remember his name.
I forget his name as well. The white guy.
Yeah.
I forget his name.
Yeah, like it's Jacques, I think. I need to understand. Like he says that it's a mafia state and we're moving towards a mafia state. Obviously he wrote President's Keeper and he was writing a book about Julius Malema as well. And he was saying he was getting death threats and of course you're gonna get death threats when
you're exposing people.
You're writing about shows and then you can get away with it. Yeah. So and quite a lot of friends and people close are saying, let's make a plan to leave, let's make a plan to go. If you need another glass of water or whatever.
Cool.
Yeah.
Where are they going?
That's the question. Yeah, where are they gonna go?
Where are they gonna go?
I don't know where they're gonna go. So, there's a lot in this country to fix, and my question to you is, what about SA really pains you? And please pick one.
Unemployment, youth unemployment.
Youth unemployment.
Yeah.
What are the stats again? It's like 42?
The expanded rate, we're sitting at about, I would say, just over 40%.
40%, yeah.
And the unemployment rate, the one they're pushing.
Is that let's say the narrow definition?
Yeah, the narrow definition.
What is the difference between the narrow definition and the
expanded definition? Yeah. Okay, so when they do your survey, they would ask you Are you actively seeking employment?
Mm-hmm.
Have you applied for any jobs in the past 6 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how they measure whether or not you're in the job market.
Yeah.
They use that. If you're actively seeking employment,
yeah.
You form part. They would consider you to be falling within the unemployed. They expanded. Does not consider people that are not actively seeking work.
So those people who've given up.
Yeah. They don't consider you. Okay. Right. And you see how distorted that is.
No, I think that's not a true reflection of what's going on.
It's not a true reflection, and that's why we always say look at the expanded definition of unemployment as opposed to what the stats are telling us. So we're sitting at about 32.9%, the narrow definition, and just over 40%, if not close to 50%.
And how many people is that?
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know the exact figures, but obviously we know it's in the millions.
It's like in the tens of millions.
Yeah.
Jeez, like, okay, so...
Yeah. And it's painful because these are economically active people who are considered to be in the economically active age, if you will. Young people like you and I who should be productive and doing something meaningful, but there's just no opportunities. You know, for me, the idea of work is inherently human beings want to work, want to be productive. It gives us a sense of purpose, fulfillment, whether you're working the land, whether you whatever.
I mean, how are we also going to get on a mega garbage trident list?
Oh my God. You know, you're looking at me like you're about to say something so profound.
Tell me when I have fun.
Oh my God, I am having fun. I was so anxious actually with that. This is fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it pains me that people can wake up and do absolutely nothing. Do you recall the lockdown?
Yes, that was really, really depressing for a couple of weeks.
You went from being excited to not going to work to suddenly you went from that and you're like, actually, I want to go to work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Also, I think for me, I'm going to say I was very fortunate because the nature of the work that I do day to day, IT program management, and at that time I was with a global company, so you work remotely anyway. So I was fortunate in the fortunate position where I was still working. It had almost zero to little impact on my working life. But the other areas of my life, oh my God, I couldn't go to the gym.
Yeah.
I couldn't go down to the store. I couldn't go down to Gonga. I just couldn't.
Couldn't pop out.
No, but others were really, it was really bad.
Now imagine people who are permanently in a lockdown.
Yes, I'd die. I'd die.
Permanently and not by choice.
Every day.
Every day.
Like I'm concerned every day. Every day I'm watching reruns of Bold and Beautiful.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yo, that's bad, eh?
Permanently.
Bold and Beautiful is still on.
I wonder.
Because I'm sure my age here.
But you know SABC is so dysfunctional. They probably like doing reruns and you know.
Yeah.
But
that is really painful. Now that you put it that way, it's just like really...
Nowhere to go. You wake up, you don't know how you're going to buy the most basic of things. It's just, the thought of it for me just depresses me. People our age. And it doesn't even seem to have an end. You don't know when it's going to stop. You don't know when you're going to get a job.
Yeah.
It's indefinite lockdown with no end in sight.
This is some people with degrees, eh?
Even more depressing.
Yeah, because you went and you studied, you went through all of the tests, you went through the exams,
do you know what I'm saying?
You wrote your dissertations, you were on Dean of Students list.
Do you know what I'm saying?
And then now all of a sudden, like, sorry, we don't have work for you.
Absolutely. And we know some of these people. We know some of these people. These are people we went to varsity with, people we went to high school with. It's painful. And the other thing I must say as well, parallel to that, is the lack of activism by the youth.
Do you think the youth has just given up?
We just have keyboard politicians sitting on Twitter the whole day. Keyboard activists. I mean, gee.
I have a new name for y'all. I have a new name. Keyboard activists. But it's fine because like, you don't have to do it. No,
I mean, that is not going to change anything.
But it's something.
it starts debate. We're debating. Oh, mind you, that is a very privileged middle class space where we interact.
Oh yeah, we're on Twitter. Oh yeah.
We're on Twitter. It's us, the clever blacks.
Who are these clever blacks?
The ones that listen to your saviors and Ready Clavi and Bangani Bengwa.
Oh goodness. I'm not a clever black then.
I'm teasing.
Yeah, sure.
But that is this country was built on youth that took to the streets. The Mandelas, they were young, they were youthful, they took to the streets. The youth of 76.
And my mom takes pride in that.
Oh really? Was she in the streets?
No, she wasn't in the streets. No.
That sounds wrong. In the streets.
The context is fine. The context was fine. She was writing her matric under police guard.
Oh.
And yeah, so but she does take pride that she was also very active about that.
Yeah. I mean, I can criticize myself also in that.
What is your criticism about yourself?
That I'm also... I do have tendencies of being a keyboard activist. But I guess in my own little spaces, I said the spaces that I'm in, I always voice whatever I need to voice out, challenge whatever I need to challenge. It doesn't stop at me just talking, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of my status updates, which a lot of people are always like...
Sure, I'm like, I'm going to tell us at it again.
Again?
No, she's at it again. I'm looking at this WhatsApp, I'm like, yo, you're like another guy that you give show baits. Like, you know Butter. You know Butter?
No.
No, okay. Now I'll show you who he is. He's also vocal about repo rate went up again. Oh, guess I will go food. Oh, but no water again. I'm like, when what's up?
Say what's up. I'm a sweet babe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I it doesn't stop there. I don't just post statuses. Anyone will tell you that's interacted with me in whatever space that I speak my mind. I'm known to ruffle feathers a lot, whether in the workplace, wherever. Excuse me. But I'm very, apart from the unemployment, is the lack of activism by young people in this country.
What is it that you think that they should do? Because, alright, we circled on youth unemployment. Except for tweeting a few pieces of rhetoric, and adding hashtags, sometimes emojis and GIFs. What more should the youth be doing from your perspective? What more can they be doing to combat youth unemployment? Because in certain instances, the government has failed us.
Yeah.
In certain instances, I think that's factual. The government has failed us.
Absolutely.
So if the government has failed us, should we stop turning to the government and look to ourselves on what we can do? Absolutely.
There's that element of also taking initiative and agency, but also challenging the state, challenging those that are in power that we've voted into power, taking to the streets. Like we need to get into a culture
and
of...
this is the activism street.
Not those streets.
No, let's be clear.
Yes. And just being like, look, if you're gonna do a sit-in at the union buildings, if you're gonna go to the Tuli house and stage a sit-in, whatever. You know, but just put your foot down, put both feet down and be like, this is enough. Like, enough is enough, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so what about the suggestion to say go start businesses?
You can start a business, but still the state has to create an environment that's conducive for the business to thrive.
Okay, very fair.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very fair, yeah.
And that's the responsibility of the state. That's why I say ultimately...
And from your perspective, is the state in that position where they've created No.
I mean, even the whole thing of triple B, whatever, it stresses me.
Why does it stress you?
It stresses me because it's really for a privileged few.
That has done nothing for me personally.
Yeah.
Me, I want my shares. I haven't got any shares. I don't have any tenders. I haven't got any positions because of triple BEE at all.
Look, this thing was just...
So it doesn't work because I haven't benefited from it.
When you benefit, you'll be like, no, the government is doing a lot.
Exactly. What are you talking about? I haven't benefited from it, so because I didn't benefit, it doesn't work.
Someone said recently that if you've never benefited from theft, it's theft. No, he said it's theft until you benefit from it.
Yeah,
something like that.
Honestly, I saw a status which made me like die laughing, but also made me a bit sad. It's when people benefit from theft, they don't complain about it.
Mm-hmm.
They say it's good fortune.
Yeah.
Or it's favor.
Mm-hmm.
Even Christians call it a blessing.
A blessing. Absolutely. And people fail to mention the connections, whatever. But on the triple B thing, remember that it was just to create the conditions for certain individuals to benefit economically. Mm-hmm. Families. I don't want to mention the family. I think we all know the families that benefited from it.
I don't know. I want to know who they are because it clearly wasn't me.
Off the record, I will tell you.
Tell me off the record.
Yes, but that's really what it was.
Yeah.
And to this day, no ordinary South African could ever tell you how they've benefited from that.
Mm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it irritates me.
It irritates you.
It really irritates me. Yeah, it really does. It really does, because I feel like you're selling people something that you know that, to me, it doesn't even exist. Mm. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm. It's just enticing people with something that you know it's not there. They can't actually. Yeah.
Yeah. You've been had, you've been took, hoodwinked, bamboozled.
Yeah. And then it makes people doubt themselves and doubt their businesses and doubt like, okay, maybe it's me, maybe it's the way, and it's not even you. You don't realize that it was not designed for you to even benefit from it.
Yeah, it wasn't designed for you to thrive. Yeah, that's a bit sad. Yeah. Yeah. So a question that I wanted to ask you about is how do those who the privileged few start careers as board members? A very, very, very short synopsis. Because I understand it's a governance role, right?
Yeah, it's a governance role. It's an oversight role.
Yeah. Like for me, how would I be able to get onto a board of directors? And what should be the mindset that I have? Because you're fighting for salaries, equal salaries, and you're fighting for equal pay, and you're fighting for good and ethical governance. Yeah. One, how do you get onto a board? Yeah. And then second, what mindset should I take going onto the board?
Okay, let's start with the mindset, right? You need to have a very strong conviction for, I don't want to say justice, then I sound like an activist.
But you are.
But what's right?
We've established justice, what's right. Stick to the brand, be on brand.
Okay, one brand.
You're on brand, there we go, you're on brand, yeah.
Yeah, but like a strong sense of justice, a strong sense of what's right, doing things right, getting things right. Is a huge risk. There's indemnity for directors to cover you. Cover you in short. Because every time you open your mouth, you say something wrong, you could get in serious trouble. So there's indemnity.
Serious trouble? Yeah. How can I get in serious trouble?
When I open your mouth, you sign things off all the time. Your signatures are attached to a lot of things. You need to be someone that also is very level-headed. And by level-headed, I mean that you must be a thinker. Do you know what I'm saying? Also very decisive. Yeah. Because decisions need to be taken. You sit once a quarter, and in that once a quarterly meeting, decisions are taken. There's no time to think about it and go back on
you've had an entire quarter to think about it.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, very decisive, but important, integrity. I love this definition of integrity. I remember when I was doing my directorship training at the Institute of Directors, The lecturer said, integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. I don't know where he got that from, but it stuck with me. And that's what being a director is about. Being on a board is about.
Doing the right thing for who?
Doing the right
for
thing.
For me or... You need to clarify this, because someone's going to listen to this and say, I'm doing the right thing, but it's for me.
So as a director, you're the custodian of the organization and shareholders, money, and all these things, right? You've been entrusted with such a huge responsibility. You act in the interest of the organization at all times. Sometimes it's even things that you might not necessarily believe in, but you act in the interest of the organization, stakeholders, your employees, etc. So you need to have that level of integrity.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I get you.
Yeah, sometimes you're like, I know of Njabulo who can actually potentially offer us a service. I'm a board member. I need to be able to disclose to say, guys, Njabulo is actually my friend.
Yeah.
But I know he's very skilled. Let's give him an opportunity. So even just that disclosure, I mustn't act like I don't know you.
Yeah.
Then I'll be like, hey friend, when you come to the meeting, don't even look at me.
Serious,
Don't even look at me. I don't know you. I don't know you. When you get to the office, you don't know me. You know? People do that all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Meeting, yeah.
So people do that all the time.
Yeah.
So even something as small as that, is quite huge. But some people might say it's something minor. But you disclose. In terms of the journey itself, where to start, a lot of people ask me this a lot. I mentor quite a few young people. I did a masterclass last year. Was it last year? The year before? Just taking you through how to start. And I think look, you can go to the Institute of Directors and get your training, whatever it is, but there's certain things that you can't be taught. If you're a liar, you're a liar. You're corrupt.
What? So must we learn to lie? Must we learn to be corrupt? Or
I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying, that there's certain things, certain values and beliefs that you have to subscribe to.
That you have to have.
You just have to have, and no one is going to teach you. The Institute of Directors is not going to teach you how to not be corrupt, So
let's go to church, guys. Well, sometimes even then, it's okay. No. Okay.
So there's for starters, yes, you need to have that just inherently as a person, to be someone who's honest, or high levels of integrity, accountability, someone who's transparent. I sound like a textbook now. That's what we're taught in training.
Yeah, that's what you're taught in training.
And then the training part of it becomes important in terms of kind of validating.
Yeah.
And putting that stamp on to say you kind of understand the magnitude of what you're getting into. You understand, as I said, the risk earlier on.
Yeah.
That, when you take decisions, you need to understand that as a board member. I mean, there's still board members from a lot of state-owned enterprises that are answering for things from 10 years ago. They're still answering for. Do you know what I'm saying?
Jeez,
I mean, Brian Malefe, classic case.
Yeah.
Right? Dudu Mieni. There's quite a lot of people that are still answering for decisions they took as directors
back then. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
So
the training
decisions have long-standing consequences.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You might not fully grasp the magnitude of that role, and the training really makes you understand. I absolutely love to advise anyone to undertake that training. It's very important just to solidify and further give you a little bit more knowledge on what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's not rocket science, really, honestly speaking. A lot of people who are directors, a lot haven't gone through the training. Quite a few people actually don't even go through the training. Those that do, it's just like the title, perhaps.
The director. Yes.
Yeah, certified director, chartered director.
What we were talking about earlier on, yeah. So we're going to move to the part where you can have a microphone to interview me for the next 10 odd minutes. And so you can have questions that you can fire away. Yeah.
Hurrah! Shikes. I think I'm going to be a little bit of a copycat, but you've pick my brain a little bit on a few things, and I'm going to pose them back at you.
Sure.
For you, what do you think are the most pressing issues confronting young people in this country?
One of the pressing, you've already talked about the youth unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
I think the one thing that's really pressing them, I think it's twofold. One, it's the sense of identity.
Mm-hmm.
Sense of identity, purpose, what is it that I want to achieve, and how is it that I want to do that. And then second, it's the initiative. I think the entitlement mentality is very toxic to young people because ships don't come in, you need to bring them in. Opportunities, yes, they can be scarce, yes, it's difficult, but what are you doing every single day to at least look for the opportunity and fight and actually fight for the opportunity? You know, we're talking about the narrow definition and the expanded definition. If you're unemployed, I think it would be better for you to be in the narrower definition where you are actively looking for employment, actively looking, because I coach and I mentor quite a few young people in this regard, and revamping your CV, making sure that you maintain your employability. And if not, if you know that formal employment is not for you, what entrepreneurial initiatives can you start where you are? So I think the biggest thing is the initiative, the lack of initiative. That young people, this is pervasive across young and old, but the young people are like, what is the initiative that you're doing? I mean, a lot of people give. I know he's not a young person anymore, but spool you up.
Yes, more fire.
Yeah, more fire.
Yeah.
Oi, oi. I was watching a clip of him. It was good when Nipsey Hussle passed away, and he's like, I am the ambassador.
Oh my God, music. Speaking for us.
Oh, Africa. Not Tembisa, not Randburg, not Binoni, Sonke.
All of us.
Sonke. So, Nigeria, Tunisia, Burkina, all of us.
Yeah.
And he gets a bad rap for being so unapologetic in his pushing of his brand, the More Fire brand. At one point he had bread, I believe. He had bread. He had bread. And then he got fired from shows and everything. Now he's got a very successful podcast. He's got a very successful More Fire brand. It's FDA approved. It's in the United States. His podcast has got taken up by Diddy. Whether you like him or not, their sense of initiative that he has is something to be looked up to. Yeah, certain things are questionable, yes, and I still want to know what Timalala Zahara Yupi.
We all want to know.
We want to know. But other than that, I had to laud him for his sense of initiative and being unapologetic in pushing his brand. Some people look at him sideways. I'm looking objectively from an initiative perspective. Yeah. And if a lot more young people had that sense of initiative, obviously with using integrity at the forefront of it, then things would be a lot better, because I'm a believer that you can always do something about your situation. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. If you can't crawl, shake your pinky. Do something. Do something. And it's easier said than done. And I'm not going to poo-poo how difficult it is. Yeah. Because I've been in situations where I didn't have work. I've had situations where business failed and lost millions and all that stuff. I've been in that situation. It's really tough for you to get back up, but you can always do something about your situation. True. And that's what the message for young people to say, you can do something.
Yeah.
Do something.
I love that.
Yes, do something.
I love that.
Like call someone.
Yeah.
The streets, do something. There's also something I write about in Father of Man, where I talk about the importance of labor. When I say labor, I'm talking about work for men. Yes. Men need that sense of work from people I've been speaking to. I don't want to come across as misogynistic. This is a conversation I've had with both men and women, and I'm willing to bet that you're willing to agree with the statement I'm about to make. And if you don't agree, just act like you do. I'm saying that men are far more lost if they don't have an occupation, like a full-on occupation that they get up to every single day.
What do you think informs that? Where does that stem from? Do you think it's inherently like...
So I ask myself where does it come from? I think it's like some social norms and social cultural norms where men would normally be known and seen as the breadwinners. And it's changed today. Like in modern times, it's like different. Like you got a 2-income household, which is amazing. I'm saying that quite a number of women, majority of those that I've spoken to, this is me saying that I've spoken to, I said, would you rather long-term be a hustler, or do you want to be a lady of leisure, whereby you do things like be a florist or just take care of the house and raise the kids and have your man go and work. I ran the data. 13%. No, sorry, 20. No, was it something like 17% said they want to be a hustler? Everybody else said I want to be a lady of leisure. And these are people who are working and accomplished.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Like you can be a social justice warrior, not having. No woman I've spoken to and interviewed wants to have to work.
Yes.
Not to say that they don't want to work, they don't want to be in a position where it's do or die.
Yeah.
Like if you don't work,
True.
you have a problem.
True.
Men, generally speaking, want to go out and work and hunt. I think it's an inherent thing. I think it's driven by male instincts. They have the need to go and hunt. So I think it's a very, when I see doing nothing, and you're a young man, I am like, that's really tough.
Yeah.
That's really tough, because if you break men, you inadvertently break women as well. From this perspective, is that a real man's instinct is to protect, provide, and promote the woman, and build the family, and just really be the cornerstone of the family. And a real man, my perspective, will never bring a woman down. You're always elevating a woman. You're always elevating a woman. You're always making sure she's educated. You're always making sure that if she wants to work, you help her find work. Like you help if she wants to sit at home. You want to sit at home. What is going to help you to be fulfilled? That's what the real man is. Now, if you take away that type of man and you say he can't work, you're taking him out of the working force. What is going to happen? Now you have a single parent household, children being raised by a single mother, and those households statistically don't do as well as a 2-income household, where like both the man and woman are playing the roles of, like when both of us are going to be parents, we're building each other up. So because I had this situation where my dad got let go because he's just like you. He's a social justice warrior. He's sitting on the executives and saying that we need a proper inclusion, we need better representation, and then he got outed before standing up for what he believed in. And then you could tell this guy he was like, I need to get out and work. I need to do something, because this is not who I am. I cannot be like this. So I think, and one of the things that drives like really achievement-driven men is that sense of initiative. To say, I've lost, but I can still do something. Like I've lost half my income, but I can still do something. And I've spoken to friends of mine where their father could work, but chose not to.
Oh, interesting.
He could have.
Yeah.
The father could have worked. Now I'm talking about how you not go and steal, and I'm talking about like actively could have been photographer, like something. Chose not to. Now you as the mother need to bear the load of the family. I'm sorry.
What do you think? Those type of men would choose not to work.
Snowflakes.
Okay.
Snowflakes. Like snowflakes. I like snowflakes that they like. We have this need to imitate. Human beings have this need to imitate, and you hardly ever imitate someone who can't be depended upon, who is not reliable. Because if you ask an entrepreneur, who do you look up to? They're like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Dr. Nandi.
Look at me not even like.
Wait. That was a crazy story. I think we'll do it. I'll take it.
We're still gonna be really, really shocked.
That is a crazy. Like I'm like, man got into 200, her own business. And then I'm like, hey, like, you know, this is a classic case of she just liked things. Like, you've got everything that a woman can hope for. Beautiful house, beautiful business established, a husband that loves you, children that love you. Now, for the rest of your kid's life, they must know that your mom was. Anyway, so when you want to imitate people, you
don't imitate Dr. Nalipa?
I was disappointed. I was really disappointed because I had so many people who looked up to her. They loved her. Yeah. It's like who's this, Lance Armstrong, you know, like when he fell, when the first thing came out, people were devastated. Yeah. It's a similar thing. Yeah. So people have this need to imitate, and young boys will want to, when they imitate people, they're always imitating a superhero, Superman, Batman. They're imitating, like entrepreneurs will say, I want to be like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. Political leaders will, I want to be like Barack or Nelson Mandela. Accountants and lawyers will pick someone in the field, and the common denominator of all those people that they want to imitate is this one word: accountability, driven by initiative. So that's the biggest thing that is really plaguing young people today. And it's easier, like, and again, it's very simplistic to say that, but I think it's really true. Like, if they had innate belief that, okay, all these things are happening, I'm not guessing. There's cholera, water, can we get a break? Can we get a break? Every day, it's like COVID made a comeback. I thought COVID was gone, now COVID is coming back.
Someone said, you're in this country, we are living as soon as possible.
One thing after another. Sure, can we get a break?
No, we're not getting a break, I'm telling you. But I mean, on that, we're talking about influential people and looking up to certain individuals who've gone to disappoint us. I guess just revealing that ultimately we're all human beings.
We're all human beings.
Do you know what I mean? But who have been some of the most influential people in your life and in your journey?
In my life, people that I know or people that I don't know? Like, which ones?
Whichever.
Okay, so seeing that we've got like 3 minutes left, I'll wrap this up quickly. For me, growing up, my grandfather, I'll put him number one. He's a Christian. He was a Christian minister for 50 years and opened up 28 branches. We were very close. We used to sing "Jesus Loves Me," "This I Know." We were very close, and then he passed away when I was like 8. I remember pictures of me just looking over at the grave with him being lowered. I'm like, "Come back, man, come back." But he's someone I really looked up to because he was very stern. He knew what he wanted, and just the fact that he made something of himself given the times that he was in. So, and then my dad, obviously. And then outside of that, oh my goodness, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, T. Jakes, used to be Joel Osteen, used to be.
Okay? Off the record, you'll tell me what.
Yeah, I'll tell you. It used to be Joel Osteen, and then I grew up.
And then I grew up and I saw the light.
Batman is like the character Batman. Like, went through a tragedy, turned into something good. He could have just used his money to make Gotham better, but that's a conversation for another day. And then just a lot of mentors along the way. Obviously, you did Tony Robbins, Robin Sharma, I call him Les Brown. There's just a whole host of them. But right now, the person that's really like helping me think a lot is Jordan Peterson, Dr. Jordan Peterson, and then also Joe Rogan. They help me think quite a bit. And then obviously you've got like the self entrepreneurs, you've got the Lechaos, you've got your Theo Belois, you've got VT. VT, I need to get you on the show. I'm from Benoni, you're from Benoni, I'm black, you're black. Perfect combination. And then
I speak well, you speak well.
We're talking about you. And then you're North, I'm North, you know what I mean? Trevor Noah, I think the only person, if I met Trevor Noah, I wouldn't know how to handle myself.
Okay.
There's the only person alive right now. If I saw him, I wouldn't know how to handle myself. And then obviously Black Coffee with what he's doing. So there's quite a lot of people. But immediately my grandfather and my dad, and then all the people that I've mentioned. Yeah.
Alright.
So Lethabo, we have to just leave it there. Thank you very much for being a guest on the show, on the NJ podcast. It was a lot of fun.
Tons of fun.
I don't know why you were so anxious.
Anxiety.
And then I'll see you on the board of directors, and then we'll have to ask Dr. Nandipa why she did what she did, but that's a story for another day. So,
Dr. Nandipa, you need to come to the show.
I don't do fugitives on my show. No. I want people to inspire people to do the right things. So we talked a lot.
Very focused though, you have to give her that.
Hey, give her that. I'll give her that.
Initiative, you talk about
But morality is a big one. So thank you very much for being on the show. Thank you very much for listening. Remember that success is a progressive realization of what ideal. That means you're doing what you've always wanted to do, that's aligned with the highest values, and that's the only way to live a fulfilled life. Any last words for the people?
Any opportunity you have, fight for the right thing. And do the right thing.
Hey, be a man. Do the right thing. Alright, that's it. Thank you very much, everyone.
Cool.